all the way from Portland. How many of you have heard of the Portland resistance? You know, when we heard about it, what was happening on this executive order at the airport, the first day when immigrants and refugees were stopped at the airport, guess what? Hundreds of people show up at the airport. Lawyers and many people. Portland Resistance invited a lot of organizations, and they were in the Portland airport for almost 2 days. When was the swearing ceremony of the dictator Donald Trump, Portland Resistance, Voces and many groups, we went to the Pioneer Plaza and it was full of people, by the thousands, and we marched in the city. So, but there are many groups in Portland that have been doing this. And I was talking with them and I said, we need to go to the Capitol. And there my brother Greg said, there is no question, we're going there. And we'll be at the Capitol, we'll be with our Latino brothers and sisters, and we will speak to the legislators. And believe me, we are going to keep coming here. Not just today, but we'll keep coming here. And if they want to govern here in this building, they should govern for everybody in Oregon. Not just for white folks. We need to govern for Black, Latinos, everybody, Asians, Japanese, everybody, people from Syria. They represent all of us. So I want to introduce here my brother, Greg, from Portland Resistance. Greg.
This is the worst riot I've ever seen. You guys all forgot your masks and your baseball bats. So, can you guys hear me? So here, we do this in the streets of Portland at our protests. For those who don't have a sign, clap once if you can hear me. No. Clap once if you can hear me. Clap twice if you can hear me. All right, well, some people can hear me. So, you know, in 1776, our founders declared that every single one of us have certain unalienable rights. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So, for our brothers and sisters who could get deported any day, for our brothers and sisters who could get deported any day just for being who they are, how is that the pursuit of happiness? How the hell can you pursue happiness? If you're going to get evicted and get a no-cause eviction or a rental hike or any of these things, how the hell can you pursue happiness? If you're a black person in Portland and you are put on the gang enforcement task list simply because of the clothing you wear, how can you pursue happiness? So in Portland right now, we have a lot of things going on. One of which is that we keep getting beat in the streets whenever we do this. And oftentimes the media tries to say that it didn't look like this. But it is, and we are peaceful, and Portland's Resistance is always going to advocate for peaceful protests, you know. But that doesn't mean that you don't disrupt or that it's not uncomfortable. Breaking down these systems that are oppressing people, transforming our country, our state, our cities, is going to be uncomfortable for certain people. You know, Howard Zinn said, protest beyond the sanction of the law is not a departure from democracy, but it's absolutely essential to it. Every single social movement that has progressed our country and our state has come hand in hand with protest. Whether that's the anti-war movement, even the Revolutionary War, civil rights, women's suffrage, all of these things come with protests and mass mobilizations. For the people that say, you know, why would you block a road? Why would you block a road? Well, for one, I ask, would you have said the same thing to Martin Luther King when he protested without a permit? Would you have said the same thing to Martin Luther King when he blocked a road? Would he have been gassed? And I argue that if they would have had these same weapons, they would have been gassed. Because I'll tell you, gas works really well. I haven't seen the water hoses, but gas works really well. And if they would have had that, they would have gassed Martin Luther King as well. But what we need is for people to stand up for the rights of protesters, because protesters are standing up for the rights of the most marginalized peoples in our community. So the history books are never going to say on, what is today, February 1st, it was a hassle to get into the Oregon State Capitol. The history books are not going to say on November 10th, John Smith could not get onto I-5 in Portland, or that it was hard to go see the Christmas tree lighting. That's not what the history books say. The history books will say that America elected a diet fascist, and the people of Oregon, the people of Portland, the people of Salem stood up against it. The right to protest and for protests to push forward progress in our country is the most American thing we can do. We are the patriots, right? Don't let them fool you into the patriot movement or the Tea Party movement. Because I would argue that when they were throwing tea into the Boston Harbor, that there were some people saying, well, taxes aren't that bad. And how are we supposed to drink tea tomorrow? Right? And what about that property? Isn't that somebody's property? You know, but the thing is, the history books don't say that of the naysayers. The history books say that people stood up for the rights of everybody. And if we don't stand up for the rights of everybody, what are the history books going to say about us if we even are afforded the right in the future to look back and say we had a history? We don't want to be those people that stood on the side of tyranny, on the side of a dictatorship, of the side of a soft coup that's going on in our country right now. We have a president where the federal courts are ordering that your ban. I'm a law student for one, and when I don't recommend it, so don't do that. But the federal courts, what we do learn in law school is the federal courts, the way that our government works in a three-party way is we have our Congress, right? We have our executive branch and we have our judicial branch. But when the judicial branch says something you're doing is unlawful or unconstitutional, or maybe we need to stop it right now, the executive branch is supposed to listen to that. And right now we have a president who saw that the judicial branch said, you have to stall this right now. And he said, what courts? What courts? We're going to keep doing it, right? That's not how our country is supposed to work. And if we don't stand up against it, it's going to keep happening. This is I'm not one to say, you know, that Donald Trump is Hitler or anything like that, but if we were having a Hitler contest in America, Donald Trump would definitely be in first place, right? Thank you. So, with that said, like, the people that work in this building, I've never been a huge states' rights guy, right? But now is the time to be a states' rights guy, because these people that work in this building and work in your local governments are the ones that are going to have to protect us from the policies of Donald Trump. And I'm not saying with walls and borders like Donald Trump advocates for, but with policies to insulate us from the racist, xenophobic, and bigotry that Donald Trump's rhetoric is spewing. So these are the people that we have to pressure to protect us. And if they're not going to do it, this is our only line of defense, right? And if we're not going to push for actual policy change, then it was all for nothing. So I say this all the time, but protesting, I believe, gives us three things. And not every protest has to give us all three things. But one of them is community, right? So I will tell you, if you leave here today and you didn't meet someone new, you did it wrong. You did it wrong. Because these are the people in our communities, in our states, that are willing to fight for the same things that you're willing to fight for. You need to network with these people. Organize yourselves. You don't have to wait for, thank you. You don't have to wait for a Portland's Resistance to make a Voz Hispania to make an event. Organize yourselves, because we are all going to have to organize and fight against this. I'll also say that protesting is a privilege. Like the person before me said, that there are a lot of people working today. Just don't shame people for not coming out today, because the fact that we are out here, this is a privilege. And we need to recognize our privilege, whether that's racial privilege, gender, sexual orientation, all of these things, immigration status. Recognize your privilege, but that's not good enough. If you recognize your privilege and that's it, and maybe you post about it on Facebook and you vote the right way, that's not enough. You have to use your privilege as a platform, right? For the people that have less privilege than you. And that has to do with intersectionality. There are all different types of privilege. Like, I have more privilege than a black woman, right? I have more privilege than, because I'm a cisgendered straight black male, than a gay black male, right? But Intersectionality doesn't mean only your intersection, right? Intersectionality means everybody's intersection. And that means that if these people feel that they're marginalized, let me tell you, it is not easy to be a victim. It's not fun to come out and say that you feel victimized by the society that we live in. So when someone tells you, we're not making up racism. When somebody says, I am experiencing racism or xenophobia or this election affects me, they're not saying it because they like being the victim, because it takes a lot of courage to come out and say that. So a lot of people like to characterize us as like big, lazy, big government people, right? But I would say that monitoring mosques, deporting workers, rounding up immigrants and workers, bailing out the big banks, starting wars, telling a woman what she can do with her own body, telling individuals who they can marry or even love are all examples of big government, and it's not us that support any of that. And if we're the lazy Americans, right, if we're the ones that want free stuff and handouts, then why are we the ones building this movement from close to nothing? Why are we the ones that come out in the freezing cold to stand on the steps of the Capitol? We are not the lazy Americans. The lazy Americans are the bankers that ruined our economy. The politicians that are not protecting us, those are the lazy Americans. We are the Americans that are fighting for the rights of all, fighting for what being American is all about, fighting for justice. Now, the Constitution is supposed to apply to all of us. We have, in Portland, we have ICE agents going into Multnomah County courts, uninvited, obviously, sometimes in plain clothes, and harassing people, not knowing their immigrant status, but because they look like their immigrant status might be of some way. Harassing them, and we don't know how many people have been deported already under Donald Trump. But if we don't stand up against it, we need to protect these people. And it's us, the protesters, who are going to do that. And when I say protection, that doesn't mean just protesting. You need to go into your communities. If you have neighbors, meet your neighbors, right? Tell them, my place is a safe home, right? Sanctuary cities and sanctuary places can be so much bigger than immigration. A sanctuary city, a sanctuary state should be somewhere where everybody feels safe. Whether your immigration status, your sexual orientation, where you're from, what you look like, that's what a sanctuary city should look like. It shouldn't just be immigration policy. We're not gonna work with ICE, but we'll turn a blind eye and let them do what they want. That's not a sanctuary city. A sanctuary city means that you can come here, you can be safe. And in Oregon and in Portland and Salem, we have a unique opportunity. The rest of the country is looking at us, and we have a unique opportunity to be a beacon of light in what is going to be and is a dark orange America. So with that, I just want to say thank you guys all so much for coming out here. Like I said, if you didn't meet somebody, you did it wrong. But thank you all for coming out and demanding progress and demanding change for everybody. We need to tell our state of Oregon that it's time, that this is not business as usual. We have people that are coming today to the state legislature for the first time. They just got elected. They're gonna remember this day for the rest of their lives because they've always wanted to be in elected office. And we need to let them know that this is going to be your memory. That you came here and there were people here demanding progress and demanding change. And that's going to be a memory that they carry with themselves for the rest of their public service career. For the people that are coming back, as most of our legislature is, that were just reelected and reelected and reelected, we need to tell them that this is not business as usual. This is not normal. This is not okay. And we need you to step up and stop passing bills for the highways and start passing bills for the people. And also, like Portland's Resistance on Facebook. Thank you, guys.
So, for those in Salem that didn't know who Portland Resistance is, here they are, a law school student dedicating his time to this. Now, I want to ask, I know there is a group from Eugene coming, from the university. Where are they?
Eugene!
I thought there was somebody from DACA, from recipient from Eugene that was speaking. Well, they haven't arrived yet. I'm sure they will soon. So, I want to invite my friend Juan. He leads an organization called Millennials, and we'll talk a little bit about what they're doing and why young millennials, Latinos, are working on this.
Hola, buenas tardes. First of all, I'm going to say a few words in Spanish because it's my native language, my mother language. Let me find it. I wrote it last night. So, el día de hoy estamos aquí porque es la hora de reformar el poder. Este emana desde las más altas esferas hasta el establecimiento local, porque lo existe. El Capitolio, lo que hacemos el día de hoy es desobediencia civil, o así es como le pueden llamar. Pero los que están aquí presentes, los políticos, los que no hicieron nada, ha sido la primera desobediencia política que ellos hicieron. La confianza es un aspecto muy importante y ese depende de un líder o una organización, la cual es llevar la confianza a su gente, al pueblo, a activarlos. El día de hoy estamos aquí no porque lo represento, sino porque se representan a sí mismos. Hoy es el día de representar ese poder y de representar el esfuerzo y el heroísmo de una nación. Gracias. Now, what I was saying is like a leader or an organization provides confidence to the community. That's the first thing. That's the most important thing is confidence. So we gotta be confident enough to come out and speak out. If you ask me why I'm a lefty, it's because I go by my heart, and my heart is in the left side. That's why I'm an izquierdista in Spanish, is how we call. So I'm millennial. I'm the founder of Millennial Organization. We decided to come out with this organization because we noticed the lack of political participation from Latinos, and that's what I'm asking for now. I know that there is some undocumented that they might not be able to protest, but there is some Mexican Americans, Latino Americans who can do that, who can come out and speak out for the families, for the best, for our interests. So now I want you guys to learn, if you planning to protest frequently, these few words. Sí se puede. Please join hands, everybody.